What happens when a wealthy family learns that their teenage daughter is dating a sociopath who was formerly known as Marky Mark? Got you there. You got this film right here. Here's my review of Fear. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Noel, better known to you as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1996 psychological thriller Fear, released by Universal for Imaginary Entertainment, directed by James Foley, written by Christopher Crowe. Starring Mark Wahlberg in one of his early films, along with Reese Witherspoon, also in one of her early film appearances, William Peterson, Alyssa Milano, and Amy Brenneman. The film revolves around a wealthy family whose seemingly perfect life is threatened when their teenage daughter begins dating an attractive and mysterious young man who turns out to be a violent sociopath. The film was released on April 12, 1996, and went on to become a cult classic and what have you. While it was largely derided by critics upon its release, but became a sleeper hit. It really didn't have much of a budget, though, unfortunately, because it doesn't really, my source does not say. So, anyway, the film was a remake of a 1993 Bollywood film known as Dar. Anyway, it has since become a cult film while at the same time launching teen idol status for its two young leads. Mark Wahlberg, who was formerly a hip hop and star known as Marky Mark, lead of Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, if I'm not mistaken, and Reese Witherspoon, who were romantically linked at the time of this movie's premiere and what have you. Brian Grazer, the producer of the film, and of course founder of Imaginary Entertainment, described it as fatal attraction for teens. Well, let's get into the story. 16-year-old Nicole Walker lives in the suburbs of Seattle with her father, Stephen, his new wife, Laura, and son, Toby. While she is at a cafe with her best friend, Margot, and friend Gary, Nicole meets David McCall and instantly falls for his good looks and charm. However, Stephen dislikes him and grows angry with him when he disregards Nicole's curfew and eventually has sex with her. Ooh. David soon becomes possessive and jealous over Nicole, culminating in attacking Gary when he sees them hugging, beating him up, and giving Nicole a black eye. As a result, she breaks up with him, but they get back together when David apologizes to her for his actions. He manipulates her into believing her father assaulted him. David invites Nicole to a party at his friend Logan's house. At first, she declines, but then decides to drive to the party, where she witnesses Margot smoking crack and having sex with David. Although Nicole does not realize that Margot is being sexually assaulted by David. The following day, she confronts him about his infidelity and breaks up with him for good. And also confronts Margot, not believing that David raped her. David then threatens Margot to convince Nicole to take him back. After seeing Nicole with Gary, David falls and kills him. Nicole goes with Laura and Toby to the mall where David corners her in the women's restroom, vowing to her that he will not let anyone stand in the way of him having Nicole for himself. Meanwhile, Stephen finds his car vandalized with an insulting note left by David. Furious, Stephen breaks into the house David shares with Logan and vandalizes it after discovering a shrine David made for Nicole. In retaliation for Stephen's vandalism, David decides to break into the Walker's residence with his four friends, Logan, Terry, Nobby, and Hacker, aiming to harm Nicole's family and take Nicole for himself. And now for the ending. As always, you know the procedure. You have 5 seconds to stop this video right now. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below. If you've seen the movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. After Margot informs the Walkers of Gary's death, David and his gang behead Kaiser, the family dog, then make multiple attempts to break inside. Stephen and Laura barricade the doors, and Laura injures Hacker with a drill, and he is then taken to the hospital by Nobby. Using a flashlight, Nicole sends an SOS to the Walkers' private security guard, Larry, who arrives to confront the situation, but is killed by Terry. David, Logan, and Terry take Stephen hostage, forcing Laura to surrender. Toby escapes through a window and gets to Laura's car phone. After Terry finds him in the garage, Toby fatally runs Terry over with the SUV. Logan forces himself onto Nicole. Margot intervenes but is knocked unconscious. David shoots Logan dead for attempting to rape Nicole, and then tells her that he intends to kill her father so he can finally have Nicole, believing that she will get over it and accept him. After Toby retrieves Larry's keys and releases his parents, Stephen rushes at David, but David takes him down and gets ready to kill him until Nicole saves her father by impaling David in the back with a peace pipe, a gift from David himself. As a hurt David looks at Nicole in shock, Stephen gets back up and brawls with him. An enraged David attempts to attack Nicole, but Stephen furiously throws him to his death through the bedroom window. And the family embrace each other as the police and the paramedics arrive. End of story. So, what did I think of Fear? Well, this is another guilty pleasure. I've watched this a few times. Of course, a couple of months ago, I just revisited that. I'm going to say I do like this film. It's very suspenseful and what have you. It kind of makes me feel like I'm seeing some of these films that have a psychotic character and what have you. It was just so wow. Upon its release, the film made 20 million here in the US. Nothing about everywhere else though. James Foley's direction was fine, what have you. The story from Christopher Crowe wasn't too bad, and its music by Carter Burwell was not too bad. It does have a pretty good soundtrack, which we do get to hear songs by the British band known as Bush. After they had actually made it with some of their hits, their song Machine Head and their one of their big hits, Come Down, was in this. Of course, this was just released before their sophomore album, Razor Blade Suitcase, was released. And there was lots of other tunes as well. Anyway, the film sits at 46% on Rotten Tomatoes, saying that the film has an appealing young cast, but their efforts aren't enough to consistently distract from an increasingly overblown and illogical teen stalker story. The San Francisco Chronicle said Fear is hard to resist. On one hand, it's a shameless thriller that makes up for the inevitability of its story by consistently being bigger, faster, and more appealing than you might expect. On the other hand, it contains enough truth about fathers, teenage daughters, and young lusts to distinguish it from most thrillers and ground it in vivid emotion. It is a nightmare fantasy for fathers. Director James Foley and screenwriter Christopher Crowe keep raising the stakes all the way to a finish that's something out of the Straw Dogs. It's a maddening, satisfying, junky, enjoyable picture. Entertainment Weekly was positive on this, further crediting the comparisons to Fatal Attraction. According to Owen Gleiberman, who gave the review, says Fear is a teen Fatal Attraction with Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon in the Glenn Close and respectively Michael Douglas roles, and with William Peterson in Anne Archer's, and surprise, it isn't bad. He did, however, criticize the finale. James Foley does a fine job evoking the sexual tensions between father, daughter, and rogue suitor, yet he has less luck with the inevitable garish climax, which is unconvincingly staged, never even make it over the top. Gene Siskel gave this film a thumbs down, but Roger Ebert gave it a thumbs up. Siskel called the picture predictable trash when inspired title and with a third act which nosedives into pure mayhem. It's shocking that such a film was made by the same director who gave us At Close Range, Glengarry Glen Ross, and After Dark, my sweet. This one is not worthy of his talent. It should have been titled Who's That Boy? However, Ebert claimed the movie generates genuine psychological interest with an effective and suspenseful portrait of a family under siege. Definitely, what have you. Now, according to legendary movie historian Leonard Maltin, he said this passable slasher epic benefits from tout, stylish direction and from decent performances. Still, it's awfully derivative, especially the climax showdown. Mark Wahlberg is menacing as the love-struck Hood, but he could benefit from diction lessons. Well, that's understandable. Yes, this can be a little hit or miss, but I still think this film had a lot to offer, especially for its suspense and what have you. Now then, Universal Imagine announced in May of 2019 that they would produce a remake of the film with Grazer again producing. But that hasn't been there hasn't been any reports for that. And then 3 years later, in October of 2022, it was reported that a TV series adaptation was in development at Peacock. Who knows how that's going to happen? Well, or if that's going to happen. Now, I am going to say the direction's fine, the story's not too bad. I will say the final act is pretty suspenseful. I mean, it does have a few issues, but nevertheless, I still thought it was pretty good. And the score's not too bad either. Now, as for our cast, we have Mark Wahlberg as David McCall. He's definitely pre brutal and what have you and all that stuff. Yeah, I liked his performance. Reese Witherspoon as Nicole, loved her performance. Very good. William Peterson, this was still before CSI. He played Nicole's dad, Steven. He was good. Alyssa Milano, who you would probably know her best of Who's the Boss fame, and this was still before Charmed even premiered. She played Margot, and she was good. Amy Brenneman played Laura. She did a great job. Let's see here. Young Christopher Gray played Toby. Tracy Frame played Logan. Jason Christopher played Terry. And Jed Reeves played Nobby. Oh, yeah. And Gary John Riley played Hacker. Yeah, so those were some pretty good characters and what have you. So I am going to say Fear can does have its flaws and what have you, but nevertheless, it does provide a lot of suspense and thrills that I think you'll absolutely enjoy. So would I recommend Fear? I would say maybe give it a one-time watch. If you really want to see yeah, well, what really put Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon on the map and what have you. I know they did some other stuff before this, but this was what I think put them on the map. So I'd say a one-time watch would work, okay? So anyway, what did you think of Fear? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. And join me next time when I bring to you a review of the movie of Woody Woodpecker. So if you enjoy this, check out some of these other suspenseful films. In the upper left-hand corner is my back-to-back review of Devil in the Flesh from 1997 and Devil in the Flesh 2 from 2000, which has become one of my most viewed vids. In the upper right-hand corner is my review of Cruel Intentions, which was another Reese Witherspoon film, which came out 2 years later. Or if you would like maybe uh some more something that's not quite psychological and what have you, but does have Reese Witherspoon in, check out my review of Legally Blonde from 2001. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.